Hey guys, MCU Collector here with the start of a new set of videos. Here we have the Marvel Legends X-Men Retro or Retro X-Men. Hasbro decided to switch it up this year and start calling it Retro instead of Vintage, and I think that's in efforts to try and boost sales. Wave 1 didn't do too well. Wave 2, you'll notice, never even hit Walmart, never hit Target, never even hit Walgreens. So you saw it at GameStop, FYE, local shops, and I don't know where else actually got that. So I think they wanted to kind of rebrand it a little bit by calling it the Retro Wave, in hopes that, you know, the nostalgia factor kicks in and people want to do it. And I think it's awesome packaging. I like the vintage. You know, I've enjoyed those figures. I didn't really open a whole lot of them, but this one, this set, you know, there's a figure like the Storm figure that I just absolutely have to have opened up, and then I'll have a second one to keep mint on card because I have Wave 1 and 2 mint on card. You know, the Comic-Con Hulk, I'll have one of those mint on card and I'll open one. So it's just this big old thing that Hasbro's doing. But anyway, we'll get right to it. Really awesome artwork on the card because it's actually supposed to represent the old Toy Biz figures. Now, I never collected any of those Toy Biz figures. I actually got a lot of the Toy Biz figures that I collected when I was younger, or, you know, were the Spider-Man figures from the Amazing Spider-Man, the animated series figures, and all of that. So I didn't get any of the X-Men ones. But anyway, we'll get right to it. You see we have it on a card back, the bubble here. Really cool. It says Lightning Blast because those are the effects that she comes with. We have the Marvel 80 Years logo there. So really cool. Here on the back of the package, we have a look at all the figures in the Retro Wave. And I really like the old school look to it. There is a bio, so let's check that out. I like the way they did this little old school retro looking thing, like it's just an outline of the figure. But anyway, the bio reads, Storm has the amazing mutant power to control weather. With a quick mental command, Storm can create anything from a simple summer shower to a raging hurricane. By raising her arms, she can command the winds to carry her anywhere. Hence, she can fly. So really cool, all the figures in the wave. There she is, looking awesome. So I'm gonna open this thing up, and it's gonna be a sad day because with these things, I don't usually open them up, and I'm gonna just rip this thing apart off camera, of course. So here we go, let's open her up. Here is the Storm figure out of the packet, and she is everything that I wanted her to be in this Jim Lee style in the white. I would have been okay in the black suit, but this is the classic. So this is what I've wanted, the Storm from the X-Men cartoon. So I'm very, very happy with it. First, let's get up close and take a better look at the figure. Then I will show her and compare her with some of the previous Storm figures that we've had in the Hasbro line. I do not have the old Toy Biz figure that is in the same suit. Because again, I don't collect Toy Biz figures. If you're new to the channel, I don't collect Toy Biz figures. I have 0 Toy Biz figures because I just won't do it. Not to say that they're all terrible figures, because there are some good ones, I know. I just don't. That's my one rule. Hasbro only. So let us get in closer and take a better look at her. Okay, and here is Storm up close. So one thing that I really like is all the shading and wash that they put into the hair. So really cool to give it that look. So it's not just all white or anything, kind of like the Apocalypse Wave. Storm was just kind of all white. I guess there was a little bit of shading in there, but not a whole lot. We get a lot throughout this this figure, and the hairpiece is extremely large. You can see how big it is there, but it's perfect. I think it comes out looking so good. I am very, very happy to have it. It's similar to the Jubilee Wave, except we have a little bit more of a bluish tint to this one instead of gray. This one's just really all gray. So I'm very, 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 very happy to have it. You can see that they are different head sculpts. Her eyebrows raised on this one. This is a new one. We get these new shoulder pads, which can kind of move around, and they're not really going to hinder the articulation at all. We get these new arms here that kind of show her her sleeves being a little bit baggy. One thing that drives me a little crazy, it's not so bad for me, but I know a lot of guys, you guys want double jointed elbows on the female figures. So when you have new sculpts, you think that would be the perfect time to do that, and yet here we have new sculpt and it's back to single jointed elbow. It's unfortunate, but it's just one of those things. Now, throughout this figure, one thing that really stands out is she's not just a straight white plastic. It is kind of that metallic white, that pearlescent look to it. So because of that, I get some marbleization throughout the legs. At first I was thinking, maybe that's part of the design. It's not. It's just all marbleization through there. But I think it looks really good with the pearlescent white instead of just a straight white paint. We get a little bit of yellow throughout the uniform and stuff. So it looks pretty good. One thing that's interesting is you could see that these shoulder pads, how they go on there, there's this weird plastic piece. Oh, that's because it holds, you know, her cape thing together. So that comes off, just so you guys know. So you could just want to make sure it goes back through that hole, and then you could port that right back on in and it holds it in place. Because I know there were some pictures where it's like, why doesn't the X, you know, look like an X? So you can actually move that to where it actually is an X. So it's kind of a separate piece on there. It's a separate piece to the shoulder piece, to this plastic piece, which then holds the cape together in the back, as you can see. And that doesn't look so good, but the hair really covers it up, so it's really not an issue. You see a lot of the seams here, so it would have been nice if that would have been on the other side. But you know, it is what it is. It's not bad. You get some gold trim along that, and then this is really just made of a nylon, a white nylon. It's very similar to the Jubilee Wave version, and I'll show a comparison here in a little bit. So there it is. Now let's zoom out and look at her articulation. Okay, so before going over the articulation, she comes with these lightning effects, the same ones that we've seen with the Apocalypse Wave Storm. These have been used over and over in several different colors, so we get yellow for the lightning. But anyway, we'll get to the articulation. She can look all the way down, but that hair is so big and sculpted, it looks kind of weird. And from the side, it looks like her head sits really high on there, but I don't think her neck looks long at all, so that doesn't not an issue for me. She's not going to be able to look up because of the hair sculpt, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem there. You get some head pivot in there as you can move the hair around. And of course, you know, she can look side to side, not an issue. You can get the shoulder up that high. These shoulder pads are going to hinder it, as in you're not going to be able to get them all the way up or anything. Oh, I'm going to make sure to get that up underneath. So you really want to make sure those shoulder pads are up underneath. It kind of keeps the cape in place along her back. There is no upper bicep swivel because of the single jointed elbow, so the swivel is at the elbow itself, and you're only going to get that much. That's about a strong 90-degree bend on there. Wrists swivel and the hands do hinge. Both hands that she comes with are the open hands that we've seen with pretty much every female figure at this point. Her abs, she can crunch forward only a little bit, not a whole lot at all, but she can go back too far and then you'll see the gap in there, but you do get that motion in there. But you get really good pivot to the side, pivot to the other side in there. No waist swivel because female figures don't have the waist swivel. Legs go that far apart. She can kick forward that much. She can't, that leg is not going to go back at all. Upper thigh cut there, double jointed knee, which works out well. No boot cut or anything. Ankle pivot, foot hinges all the way down, decent amount up, not a huge amount, but a little bit. So there is the articulation. Now let's see Storm up with some other Storm figures. So here are the three most recent Storm figures, and you can see that they're all kind of different heights, but there's a reason for that. So this one actually has flat feet, whereas this one has wedges, this one has boots. So a little bit of a heel, which makes them a little bit taller, and then of course the mohawk hair really showing a lot more height to them. Now each one of them uses a completely different body mold. Whereas this one, maybe the same lower legs, maybe the same upper legs, it's hard to tell, but the torsos are definitely different, the arms are different. One thing to note on this is actually looking through some of the artwork style of Jim Lee, she's actually kind of wearing really long boots where that doesn't really show off at all in the figure. They didn't do that. They didn't sculpt a line. They didn't paint a line. There's nothing. So it doesn't really bother me. I just thought I'd point that out. The cool thing that you could see about these two, I'm going to kind of take this one out of the way for now, is the capes that these two use. Very similar, but they are different. Like, it's hard to get this one to stand because of the wedges. You could see that this one kind of went in between the upper torso and the lower torso, whereas this one, how I kind of had shown you guys, goes together on the shoulders and comes around together like that. But they are made of the same material. This one's just the black and gold to match the costume. This one's white and yellow to match her costume. So pretty cool. Now let's see if we can actually do some head swaps. Okay, so we're going to pop the head off of this one, and then we're going to see the one from the Jubilee Wave, because I know people like to see the head swaps, even though I guess these really wouldn't make sense in terms of the costume. So it fits on there, but it just doesn't really fit right, and that kind of looks creepy. So we're going to take that off. We're going to see if this head fits on the Jubilee Wave Storm. And it does, and I guess that could kind of work. Looks a little off to me, but that could really work. Pop that off. We'll get the one from the Apocalypse Wave and see if that one fits on this one. And that actually fits well. And that can actually really work if you wanted it to. But again, the hairstyle wouldn't match the costume. Let's see if this one goes. And then this one works. That actually looks pretty cool. It's a little loose and kind of gets a little wobbly in there, but that works. They fit quite nicely, actually. So just a little bit of fun with some head swaps. There she is, back to normal. Another thing I wanted to point out is this one on the Jubilee Wave, the cape is held onto her arm with a little plastic ring, whereas the new one, it's actually held on with some thread that's just sewn onto there. And you could see how it was done. It's just a loop and then sewn right on there. It actually looks a little sloppy, but it holds up pretty well. So there's no concern of it coming off. If you really wanted to, you could remove it, just take the hand off, pop these off, and then you could just take the cape off altogether. But there she is. Now let's see her with some of the other team. Okay, so here are the X-Women together, and she looks very good along with her other female counterparts in the X-Men. Now let's see some more to the team. And the X-Men are really, really coming along together nicely, so I'm really happy that we finally get to have this classic Storm look added to the rest of these. We desperately need an updated Jean Grey, and if those rumors are to be true, there's some kind of 3-pack that's going to be coming up either late this year or early next year, which will have Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. I forget what it's called, Love Affair or Love Triangle or something. I don't even remember. I try not to pay too much attention to those rumor lists until something's kind of confirmed. But fingers crossed that we actually get it. So very pleased to have all these X-Men together. There's so many X-Men figures this year. It's been crazy. I have no doubt that we'll see more here in a couple of weeks at Comic-Con. That'll be coming out next year. So I'm very happy, and what a great time to be a Marvel Legends collector. But that's my review. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. How excited are you for this figure? I'm curious. I want to know. Let me know down in those comments. Hit that thumbs up button if you guys liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, guys, thank you for watching.